My boyfriend insisted on a paternity test with our newborn son. But apart from the color of his skin, our baby was a carbon copy of him. When the results came back, I'm working on an exit plan. I have a boyfriend of 3 years. When we found out I was pregnant, it wasn't planned. I was on birth control, but got gastroenteritis. Apparently, it makes the pill less effective. You can look it up. I was afraid to tell him at first. I was afraid of how he'd react. But after the initial shock, he seemed excited. He went to all the appointments. He helped set up the nursery and was with me during the labor. He even cried when he held our son for the first time. And that made me cry too. But to be honest, everything made me cry. Hormones are a bitch. So far, he's been a great dad. Changing nappies and night feeds when I was exhausted. Those are the things that new parents do. He's the one who came up with bouncing on an exercise ball. It's the only way to get a baby to stop crying at 3 o'clock in the morning. At 3 o'clock in the morning. He made sure I ate real food. And not just granola bars and cold coffee. I was grateful, but Friday night changed everything. When he came home from work, I was cleaning up the dishes. It was one of the rare times the baby took a real nap. Out of the blue, he asked me if I wanted a paternity test. It was totally unexpected. I thought we should get a paternity test. He said I thought I must have misheard him. At first I actually thought he was joking. He and I are of different races. But apart from the color of our skin, our child is the spitting image of him. Judging from the pictures of him as a child. Same eyes, same nose, same chin dimples, and the little curls on the back of his head. He wakes up in the morning with his hair sticking up. His mother pointed that out when she first saw him. He looks just like you. She showed me baby pictures on her mobile phone once. It was amazing. I was stunned when he asked me. His reasoning was that he had to be sure he was the father of the child. He had to be sure of that. All I remember is that when he spoke, I immediately felt a pain in my chest. It was as if someone had hit me directly in the heart. I couldn't even organize my words at first. Are you sure? I finally managed to say it, and he nodded. He had a very serious look on his face. I just want to be sure of one thing. It's very important to me. The man I love doesn't trust me. He'd really think I'd sleep with someone else. Cheating on him and then trying to pass someone else's child off as my own. I've never given him any reason to think I'd cheat on him. I don't even have close email friends from the past. He's made comments about boundaries and relationships. Made me feel uncomfortable. For example, my former coworker sent me a happy birthday message and jokingly asked if I was having an affair. I thought he was just joking at the time and brushed it off. But now I'm wondering if he let it slip. I've tried to be open and honest, but it's not enough. I even sent him my location. Not because he asked, but for security reasons. When I was pregnant and had to work late. But I still had nothing to hide. He can check my phone anytime he wants. I don't have anything locked. Why did I ask him when I could talk again? Why do you think I would cheat on you? Do I give you any reason not to trust me? He shrugged and looked uncomfortable. It's nothing personal. It's just something every man should do to make sure. He told me he'd give me time to think about it. He wouldn't do this test behind my back. But for our relationship to continue to grow, he needed to be 100% sure that he repeated it because he, in his words, needed me to realize how serious he was. And then he just walked away. Like he hadn't just accused me of committing the most horrible thing ever. I spent the night crying silently in the bathroom, and he slept peacefully in our bed. The next day, he acted like everything was normal, playing with the baby and asking me if I needed to order takeout for dinner. I just nodded my head, perfunctorily, trying to digest everything that had happened. That night, after we put the baby to bed, I tried to talk to him about it again. I didn't understand what was going on. I said we've been together for 3 years. I've never given you any reason not to trust me. He insisted that it wasn't a question of trust. It's a question of certainty. Men and women see it differently. You're 100% sure the child is yours because it came out of you. I don't have the same assurance. I asked him if he'd talked to anyone. About it. Or if anything specific had happened to make him suspect me. He denied it, said it was just something he'd been thinking about. Do you know what you're accusing me of? I asked him, are you saying you think I might be cheating on you? And pregnant with someone else's child. And then lied to you about it for months. Is that what you're saying? I'm not accusing you of anything. He said he was getting defensive. I just want to be 100% sure it's a reasonable request. Is that it? Is it reasonable to suddenly question the paternity of your child? He looks exactly like you. And your partner has never given you any reason to doubt it. I don't think it's reasonable. It feels like a slap in the face. After a few days of thinking about it, I decided to allow him to take a paternity test. Because I have nothing to hide. I've never cheated on him and I'll never cheat on him. I don't even have the energy to cheat on a newborn. I don't have the time to feed him every 2 hours. I take a bath once a week. Sometimes I don't even have time to brush my teeth. I Googled all kinds of paternity tests. Some you can buy at the drugstore. But I saw that they weren't always accurate. And then there's the official test done by the lab. Apparently it would hold up in court. I insisted on an official test, because if we did, once we prove he's the father, we're doing the right thing. I'll end the relationship on the same day. I'll do everything I can to work with him. I can't be with someone who fundamentally doesn't trust me. I can't be with someone who fundamentally doesn't trust me, who thinks I'd do something so horrible. The thought of continuing this relationship. I feel sick. In the meantime, I'm working on an exit plan, finding a place to live, and getting a lawyer to work out custody arrangements and child support. I've started setting aside some of my maternity leave pay, and looking for a flat at the right price. I've already been saving for my children's future, but now I'm going to move some of that money to an emergency fund. And I'm starting to document everything. I don't think he'll try to take the baby or anything, but safety comes first. I can't even tell my family or friends right now, because they'd be furious. As a child's first priority, my brother would probably want to beat him up, and my mom would never talk to him again. My mom was cheated on by my dad when I was a kid, so it's something that would have particularly touched her and my best friend. She didn't like him from the start. She'd just say, "I told you before, I'm not ready now." I hope this test is worth it for him, because he's going to lose me in the process. I'm trying not to take this too seriously, but I just can't see a future. Even if I want to forgive him, the trust is already broken. How can I be sure he won't accuse me of something else in the future? The worst part is that he doesn't even seem to realize how serious it is. He just goes on with his life as usual, playing with the baby, watching TV, suggesting we order pizza. Meanwhile, I felt like my world was falling apart. I tried to stay strong for the baby, but it's hard. I wasn't looking for advice or comfort or trying to explain his position. I just realized that this part of my life was over. Anyway, it's a good start to the new year. Has anyone else been through something similar? We had a paternity test and my boyfriend wanted to. It's been a few weeks since I posted this. I've been dealing with things. I'm gonna call my boyfriend Mason. I'm gonna call my boyfriend Mason under a fake name so it's clearer. It's gonna be a long one. I'm sorry. And why are you posting on Reddit? I don't know, guys. I don't know. Maybe because I can't. I can't talk about it with people in real life. Or they'll hate him forever. Maybe it's because I need the approval of strangers. I'm not overreacting. Or maybe it's just because I want to vent in an anonymous place. To clear up a few things that many commenters have brought up. One is race, but as far as I know, his family and friends were in favor of it. His mother actually set us up. I went to a dinner party. He and I were the only single people invited. We hit it off right away, and she admitted that she wanted to set us up. So, I don't think it's what you call racism. His family has always been friendly to me. His mother calls every few days to check up on me and the kids. His sister invited me to her wedding as a bridesmaid. Before we got engaged. Not yet, so I don't think it's a racial issue. Secondly, we don't have a cheating problem. And no instability whatsoever. In all the years we've been together. And we haven't had a breakup or a pause. Our relationship has always been solid. Except for the normal arguments about household chores. And the normal arguments about what to watch on Netflix. I did go through a rough patch the first trimester of my pregnancy. Because I've been very sick. And probably not the most pleasant person to be around. But we got through it and I think we got stronger. Our son looks exactly like him. My boyfriend told his cousin about the paternity test. A few days later he asked me. The cousin told his wife. It spread like wildfire. Especially in their family group chat. I didn't join the group. But his sister told me about it. Apologizing for the family drama. His mother went through the motions. Picking him and our son half and half. And added some separate photos of the two of them. She posted them in a family group chat and said, "Look at the photos I found of Mason as a baby." After people commented, she said, "Actually, that's my grandson on the right, or that's not Mason." In fact, family members just assumed. It's the same person in all the photos. And some of the photos were taken in low light. How much our son looks like him. I think it's funny, but it's also annoying. It's like I carried a baby for 9 months just to have a child that looks exactly like your dad. Where are my genes? I didn't see the group chat. But the conversation ended when his mom did it. I should add. His mother called me privately to apologize for the family gossip. And told me how disappointed she was in her son. She said I raised him better than that. And that made me cry. Because at least someone understands how much it hurts. Anyway, we talked. When I published my first article, I was angry and planned to leave. But the anger was soon replaced by hurt. When I calmed down, I realized that if I did this to him, I'd be doing the same thing he did to me. When he asked for a paternity test. Plus, we now have a child. So everything became more complicated. I had to think about what was best for our son. And not just what makes me feel better in the moment. I'm going to let him talk. But I also don't want him to think that I was avoiding a paternity test. So beforehand, I made appointments at 2 different paternity places. I told him to come home and talk. I made sure the baby was with my mother. I told her I had a doctor's appointment, which wasn't a total lie because we were going to a medical facility. But not for me. I told him that whatever the outcome of his conversation, the paternity test was booked and would go ahead. I basically asked him why. When he started doubting the paternity, was it a previous relationship? Was there cheating? He said he asked me about a week ago. He started to suspect. He said he was on his lunch break one day, just reading some random article. And then he clicked on an old article about a man who found out his 3 kids weren't what he wanted. After 20 years, this led him into the trap of podcasts and YouTube videos. These videos encouraged the man to ask for a paternity test. And he thought the podcasters were idiots at the time. He said paternity tests were the exception to the rule. He said his reasoning was that some women had done it before. He wanted to be sure of what he was saying. You know it's yours because it came out of you. But how do I know the test will give me that assurance? I asked him if he really thought I was cheating on him. Or is this just a common male anxiety? He hesitated, which told me everything. He finally said he didn't think I was cheating on him. But he wasn't 100% sure. And that uncertainty was killing him. I felt hurt by it, but I decided to explain my feelings. I said that for him, it was a reasonable request. And to me, it was basically him saying he didn't trust me. He said he believed I would cheat on him, getting pregnant so that he could emotionally, financially, and physically support me through the pregnancy and labor. Basically cheating on him while he was raising another man's child. I told him I understood. Women have done this before. But he thinks I'm going to do this to him. It bothered me, and I told him the truth when I was angry. When I got angry, I tried to leave. I even went to a lawyer. About a co-parenting plan and a new place to live. He was surprised that I would leave over something so trivial. I thought it was strange. He thought that issuing a paternity ultimatum was a trivial matter. He thought it was trivial to issue a paternity ultimatum and accuse his partner of cheating on him. Little things, I said. You think accusing me of cheating and hiding the father's identity? What's the big deal? What's really important? He backed down and said he didn't mean it that way. He just didn't expect such an extreme reaction. It made me even angrier. I should have just smiled and said, "Of course, my dear. Whatever you want," and he questioned my loyalty. I told him his words really hurt me. I'm still hurt. But if he needs that inner peace, we can do it. He asked what about our relationship. I told him I don't know if I can get past this. And I said honestly, I don't know if I can be with someone who thinks so little of me. He promised to make it up to me. That we could go to couples counseling. That he would do everything he could to regain my trust. We took the test 2 days later. We got the results 3 days later. He opened both results, to everyone's surprise. He was the father, and he was visibly relieved when he saw the results. I don't know why that made it harder for me. His relief just confirmed to me. He really thought it was possible that the baby wasn't his. The baby wasn't his and he wanted to celebrate. Suggested we go out for dinner or order takeout. As if it were a moment to rejoice. I couldn't believe it. I went straight to the bedroom and cried. He followed me. He didn't understand why I was still upset. We should be happy, he said. Now we're sure, you know. I corrected him. I've always known. I never doubted it. It's been 2 weeks since the results came in, and I'm still very sad. God, I sound pathetic. I feel sorry for myself. I thought the results might have lessened it a little, but it didn't. When he asked for the test, it was like flicking a switch. And I couldn't find a way to turn it off. I'm sure postpartum depression is one of the reasons. Because all I do is cry, and I wasn't like that before. Despite all this, I've been trying to be a good mummy. The baby is my priority. I wake up with him at night. I feed him, change his nappies. I do all the things I'm supposed to do. But I feel like I'm just going through the motions. Like I'm outside my body watching myself take care of this tiny little person. And my heart was broken. And I moved into the spare room. Which is something he didn't want. But I'm sad because except for when my son is awake, I'm always sad that I can't sleep next to him anymore. Every time he reaches for me in his sleep. I get nervous every time he tries to touch me. I get disgusted. I'm seeing a therapist. I don't know how people find a therapist they like so quickly, by the way. He wants to do couples therapy. He's looking for a therapist. He's already made a few appointments. He just wants to try it. I appreciate him trying. Really, but I don't know if it's enough. We had a big fight last night because he wants to have sex. And I can't. I don't have any desire for him right now. When he tries to touch me, I flinched. He got angry and said I was punishing him for something reasonable. I said I wasn't trying to punish him. I just don't want to be intimate right now. He had a fit this morning. He apologized and said he was being inconsiderate and should give me time. But then he asked me how much time I needed. It's like there's a set timetable for getting over something like this. As if I could say, just give me 17 more days. I'll be fine. He wants to stay married. He wants to have more kids and get back to where we were. And he thinks our relationship is stronger now. And I'm just thinking, our relationship now is more fragile than a man on stilts. I don't know if I can say that word together. The physical love is gone. I'm not in the right frame of mind. I don't want him to touch me. We rarely talk about anything except the kids. It's awkward and I'm trying to get back the feeling between us. I don't know what to do. I'm so grateful for all the kind words. I know some of you are worried, but I've got a contingency plan. I've hired a lawyer. I made a childcare and parenting plan. In the last 2 weeks, I've told my family, most of whom are in the neighborhood. I had a rental property that I could also move to. Our finances are separate, so there's no problem there. I know myself, I know I'm not in a good place. I'm living in a spare room. There is no emotional therapy. Individuals or couples want to help me, and want to. To reiterate that what I started out with was right. Moving after having children is not easy, so I have to make sure I'm mentally healthy. Our kids are fine, and then I will make a decision. But thank you all for your kindness and perspective. I really appreciate the updates. I know it's been a while since my last update. A lot has happened and I've been trying to process everything. My old account got locked out for some reason. I can't remember the password, because it was set up when I was half asleep and emotional. So here's the new one-time account. Sorry for the mess I left behind. Things have deteriorated and after consulting a lawyer, I can't really discuss it until it's settled in court. My lawyer advised me not to disclose details for now, but I wanted to update you all on the latest developments, because of the support and kindness I've received from many of you. We've tried, I've really tried. We went back to couples therapy a few more times. And I've started going to therapy alone. Individual therapy has been really helpful. She made me realize that my feelings were justified. I wasn't overreacting, not like Mason always said. In couples therapy, things seemed to get slightly better. Mason said all the right things, acknowledged that he had hurt me, promised to rebuild trust. But outside of therapy, it was a very different story. He would get frustrated that I was still struggling with this, and told me I had to get over it fast. When I tried to explain, that trust isn't something you can have just because you decide to have it. He'd get defensive and say I was holding a grudge. When I realized, he had been telling his family and friends that I was suffering from postpartum depression. That's why I acted so rational about the paternity test. He portrayed me as an unstable person, and himself as a long-suffering partner of a patient who suffers from my mental problems. When I raised the issue with him, he denied it at first, then admitted it. But he said he was just trying to explain our situation, and didn't want to embarrass himself. As if my mental health should be sacrificed to protect his honor. When I finally told him I wanted to separate, Mason wasn't having it. First he begged me to stay. Then he got angry and said I was being unreasonable because of my hormonal imbalance. When that didn't work, he started telling people I was mentally unstable. I shouldn't be alone with the baby. That was the last straw that broke my back. Something happened that I can't describe, but it was something that made me realize I had to leave immediately. It wasn't physical, but it was enough to scare me and I knew I couldn't stay. I packed up my belongings and left with my child. He's been calling me ever since. Apologizing, threatening. Since then, I've changed my phone number. I only use my lawyer or parenting apps that record everything. His mother was surprisingly supportive. I didn't expect her to come and see the child a few times, and told me she was disappointed in her son's behavior. She even offered to testify on my behalf if necessary, though I hope it doesn't come to that. We're in the middle of a custody proceeding. It's exhausting and heartbreaking, especially because I used to really love him. I never thought we'd get to that point. I still have moments where I wonder if I should have done things differently, if there was anything I could have done to save our relationship. Thanks again for the different perspectives. I hope it all settles down eventually. Maybe I'll update when the dust settles. But right now I need to focus on my son and rebuilding our lives.